Hey, and welcome. Here's another short technical tutorial on replacing the background. And here we have a portrait image with a nice grey background. And experience shows that the grey background is ideal for this kind of job. Um, uh, with different kind of image, it can be more difficult. So if you have the grey background already, you're in a very good place. Um, I guess this is what we're really thinking about here is a kind of what I like to think is a creative and artistic approach to replacing the background. And a lot of the tutorials out there are tend to be focused on the idea of making selections to extract the subject from the background. Um, which is fine, although it can be quite difficult sometimes depending on your image. Um, this is, in some ways, I think, an easier approach, and it suits me pretty well. So let's have a look at how we go about this. Um, I thought we would use something rather different for this. This is a image of a couple of pages from Egyptian Book of the Dead, and I was thinking about this sort of ancient Egyptian vibe at the time, and looking for this kind of image for the background, and I rather like this one. And so hopefully we can use this to just to give ourselves something a bit different. And um, I guess I'm trying to illustrate that it is possible to think outside the box a little bit and perhaps be slightly more imaginative than simply using the normal kind of thing, which is some kind of textured colored background. So we begin by we need to duplicate layer, and we need to duplicate that layer into our target document, which is the portrait image. And then we can see that that's been transferred across. It does look rather small, but that's not going to be a problem. So we will now select the free transform, Control T, and then we just need to grab the handles and expand this background image so that it fits over our initial image. And having done that, of course, we've completely obscured the original image. So what we tend to do next is look at blend modes. We could experiment with some of the different blend modes. I think this is darken. I think that's probably a bit too strong for what we want here. Can sometimes look at overlay, but again, I think that's probably a bit much. And we often return to our old friend soft light, which in a lot of cases gives us I think it gives us the kind of right balance between the subject and this background image that we've laid over it. And so now it's simply a question of taking our eraser tool, and I'm going to set opacity around the sort of 80 mark to start with. Flow around 40, that's okay. And I just begin to apply my eraser tool onto the subject. And so I'm erasing parts of the background. And so I just need to work to carefully erase background pixels from my subject. And with this one, I'm already thinking that I quite like the idea of leaving some of this kind of hieroglyphic writing, I guess. Quite like the idea of leaving some of this showing on her face, so that the background is kind of blending across the original image. You might feel differently. You might think, oh well, I don't, I just want to completely remove the background, and obviously that's perfectly valid. I think I just want to kind of reduce this kind of rather large mark on the background there. And so I can just work away on that carefully, moving around my image and just erasing the background areas that I want to get rid of. And I need to do a little bit more work on got the model's blonde hair here on her ear to bring that out more. And I'm in some cases dragging the brush. In some cases, I'm just spotting the brush on, which can be a good technique to get a kind of balanced result. I think one thing I would say, though, is that on the eyes, which are, the eyes are usually the main thing we have to create impact for our image. On the eyes, I'm going to use 100% opacity because I really don't want any background showing on her eyes and just on the kind of area around her eyes, because I still want those to really kind of pop out of my image. And again, I'm just kind of here, I'm just kind of spotting with the brush around the eye area in a bid to kind of blend that in. And I think also I'm going to apply 100% on the lips because I quite like those to give me some impact from her lips as well. And these little bits of jewellery she's got on. And so there we are. That's basically it. It's quite easy to do this, and you can get some really interesting and attractive effects from doing it. And I like this idea that we can still see some text, kind of ghost text, visible. And what I'm hoping here at this point is that I've succeeded in applying what I think is a rather unusual and interesting background to this image, whilst still preserving the impact of the subject and getting a good balance between this new background and the original image. A little bit more there. And so you can just work away on this until you feel happy with it. Okay, so there we are, and thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.